With an exploding volcano in Guatemala, deadly protests in Nicaragua, and an ongoing crisis in Venezuela, the Organization of American States Annual Assembly couldn't have been more timely. There are 35 nations at the gathering in Washington, but only a few are dominating discussions. After weeks of protest in Nicaragua, where more than 100 people have died calling for the president's resignation, countries here expressed growing concern. But Nicaragua's foreign minister claims it's locked in a battle with criminal gangs.
Nicaragua has come to this General Assembly to express its commitment to peace, security, and stability of our nation, which is currently undergoing an attack by criminal groups.
America's new Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was addressing the OAS for the first time, but revisiting what he sees as an old problem. He's demanding greater sanctions against Venezuela and its President Nicolas Maduro.
I call on fellow member states to apply additional pressure on the Maduro regime, including sanctions and further diplomatic isolation, until such time as it undertakes the actions necessary to return genuine democracy and provide people desperately needed access to international humanitarian aid. We call on all OAS nations to do this today.
As the small round of applause died, the Venezuelan delegation insisted the U.S. was breaching the rules of the organization. It was calling to action.
You do not have the moral authority of any kind to try and undermine our government. And we see that in the Articles 19 to 20 of this charter. You are violating the OAS Charter, the UN Charter, and what are you seeking?
Calls to suspend Venezuela from the OAS are virtually redundant. Venezuela itself has said it's going to leave the organization, and that two-year process will end next year. But it's clear that while Venezuela says it won't take any part in the formal OAS gathering here in Washington, it won't allow what it perceives to be attacks to go unanswered. Nicolas Maduro won a new 6-year term as Venezuela's president last month in an election which was widely criticized internationally. But the US position on Venezuela is a big challenge to the OAS. Latin and Caribbean nations have always been reluctant to act against a country it regards as a long-term friend and ally. But there is a sense that patience is running out, although no one is clear what comes after the words of condemnation. Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, at the OAS General Assembly in Washington.